Hey, welcome back to your favorite technical math class. We're going to talk about powers and roots today. So let me start out with, our objectives are to identify the base and exponent and find the roots of a number. So let's talk about, first of all, an exponential form of a number. If you notice here, you've got repeated multiplication shown there on the left with the 7. There's 5 of those 7s, right? So how do you write that? 7 to the 5th. 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. You know, if you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 2 to the x's, so we're going to write it 2x to the 4th power. So what's the difference here with these notations? Notice you've got negative 6 squared, so there's 2 of those. Negative 6 times negative 6, 36. Whereas this one, negative 6 squared, means do the 6 squared first, and then apply that negative out front. Okay, so negative 36. So it makes a difference if you've got those parentheses or not. So negative 7 squared, negative 7 times negative 7, positive 49. Whereas you got negative and then 7 squared, right? Again, you do the 7 squared first, and then you apply the negative out front, negative 49. This one, negative 5 cubed. Well, negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. 25 times negative 5, negative 125. And it'd actually be the same right here. You do the 5 cubed first, though. So 5 cubed, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Then you apply the negative out front. Do the 2 to the 4th first. Do that first. So 16, then you apply the negative out front. So the nth root definition says the nth root of b is a if a to the n equals b. So like for example, the square root, let's go with the square root of 9. You guys probably remember the square root of 9 is 3. In other words, that's a second root. The second root of 9 is 3. That means that 9 is equal to the 3 squared. Right? If the nth root of b, is a, right? It means the second root of 9 is 3, and that's because 3 squared is 9. Yeah, that's what it means. So the square root of 25, so what I do is I say, well, a square root is a second root. I actually like to write that in sometimes when I first begin. That means I'm looking for 2 of a kind. So if I just factor this 25, it's 5 times 5. Anytime I need 2 of a kind. So if I got 2 of a kind, that's my answer. My answer is 5. Now here you got a third root of 8. So I'm looking for 3 of a kind. So you know how 8 is 4 times 2, right? I got to keep factoring that down. So the 4 is 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the third root of 8, see, I'm looking for 3 of a kind. I have 3 of a kind when I factored it. So what's my answer? 2. Third root of 8 is 2. How about the third root of negative 27? So now I factor the negative 27. Well, negative 3 isn't negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is negative 27, and I'm looking for 3 of a kind. Look at that, I got 3 of a kind. So it breaks out of jail, if you will. The fourth root of 16. Break down that 16. 16 is 4 times 4. In other words, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. How many am I looking for? 4 of a kind. I got 4 of a kind. That's my answer. 2. Alright, let's do an application. The distance traveled by an object falling under the force of gravity depends on how long the fall is. The distance, if you've fallen after a time of t seconds, is found by d. Distance fallen is 16 times however many seconds squared here, the t squared. So if an object falls for 5.5 seconds, so we're just going to put that 5.5, and this is in seconds right there. What's the distance the object fell? So we go 5.5 times 5.5, which gives us 30.25 if I multiply 5.5 times another 5.5. And then 16 times 30.25 gives you 484. And this is seconds squared. Square seconds on that. So that's the distance that it fell. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, don't worry about your units right there. That's distance feet. All right, last one. Our television screen. Look at a television screen. This right here is the length of the television screen, okay? And so they're saying, well, hey, if you've got your width and you've got, your width and you've got your height right here, you know that's a right angle. If you remember, I don't know if you guys remember the Pythagorean Theorem says, hey, if I got a right angle, A, B, C, then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's how, C squared, that's the length of C right there. So if you're solving for C, you can just square root both sides. So that's where this comes from. The length of the diagonal, in other words, the measurement of the length of your TV, or the size of your television screen length, is the square root of W squared plus H. Oops, that's an H squared. So it just comes from the Pythagorean Theorem. So it says, well, hey, if I've got a television screen that's 20.4 inches wide, 20.4, which is squared, I've got the 17.5, which is squared. So make sure you punch in the 20.4, 416.16. Punch in the 17.5, that's 306.25. Now add them together, 722.41, and then square root that thing. So it looks like it's 26.88. So that's the size of the television screen. We're in inches here. So it's about 27 inches. It's about a 27-inch screen. All right, well, thanks for watching. See you next time.